Hey, welcome everybody.
I have a hard stop at between 11:30, 11:45, so just nobody could be offended when I get up late.
Well, we'll get going.
Save all his work assignments till after that.
Yeah, there you go. So. Thank both of you, Judy and Jonathan, for preparing good detailed stuff for us to review. My first question is, are we reviewing all of this? I mean, presenting all of it? Yeah, Paula, you should have emails from both, like two of these. Cute.
My thought on what I did, and just my 2 cents.
I haven't seen either, but.
Oh, I sent that last night.
Okay, so
Should I print more copies?
Yeah, I don't believe I got it, John, but
okay,
Did you get it, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, my thought was to have it. I wrote it more for optics in terms of, this is a serious thing, this is a viable thing. I don't expect the select board to read it, though we should make it available, but I don't think they're gonna. But I think it's great for us to wrap our heads around, but I don't. I don't think they're gonna go through it on a fine tooth comb on a business plan. I just don't.
Some of them will. And it's also very helpful for other groups.
Absolutely, I agree with that, so.
I mean, I think having it is, having a detailed summary is very important.
What I would request is before it's shared with anyone outside of this group, is for someone to go through the numbers, because I used so many different assumptions. And I'm not convinced that my costs line up with my revenues in terms of break even, when we break even, all that type of thing. So I'm looking for inconsistencies with from another set of eyes.
Did you look at the cost and revenue assumptions in the report?
I did, and I, when I was putting it together, I
I
downloaded,
apologize.
right. Yeah, but I didn't see in the revenue assumptions. And maybe I missed it. I didn't see the detailed customer counts, and maybe they were there. And what I did when I did that is I plugged it in.
There's, the appendix has a lot of assumptions that I have looked at.
Okay,
Um,
I was worried what I got was too high for an assumption that it wouldn't pass the laugh test. I mean, revenue of $500,000 a year.
yeah, and.
well, is the business plan for? That's not for the select board at this point, is it?
I think it's for partners, I think it's
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
But having the select board know that we've done it so that we're serious, I think that's what I mean by optics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well,
I think they need to understand the report.
Okay. My biggest question about this report is. It doesn't follow the less is more philosophy. And I don't know if that's the right philosophy or not.
now are you talking this report,
Well,
it's Judy's report, or?
yeah,
Okay,
it's
combined.
hard.
Well, no, one is the presentation.
Right, yeah, but they're essentially,
Okay, so,
parallel.
They get, the idea was to get the written,
yeah,
and then at the presentation, the slides are talked about.
And
this
these-
is describing this. So this,
The text version is a summary of the report.
okay,
And these are your talking notes essentially then.
that's what I'm checking.
Well, that's what they get. That's what hopefully they will have read.
This,
this,
Yeah.
let's call this
Oh.
one and this is two, one, this is what.
Oh, wait, you think, so you're saying give them this ahead of time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And then, at the meeting.
Sorry to keep
Present
running around,
this.
Carol.
Of
Oh, okay. And before this was sent, it would be, the red lines would be cleaned out.
course,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
draft taken off, but nobody
Right.
looked at it,
Yeah.
blanks filled in.
Right, okay.
I offered to do a summary of the report that goes.
I know you did, but it's helpful to. Okay,
I think what Judy's done is great. My only concern is that, again, it's long.
Well,
Yeah,
I didn't have any intention of having it be that long, but
Right.
that isn't one heck of a report.
does it make any sense to do and to label it as a 1/2 page executive summary? Just in case.
can't label it as that, because this isn't, I think your question,
It's 4 pages, it's.
well,
4 pages if you take the figures out.
okay,
Summary of a 72-page document.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, okay.
Um, if there's anything in there you don't think is important, but I found myself adding rather than subtracting as I went to do the presentation.
Good.
So,
The other question that I had, and it may be just my lack of attention span sometimes. I'm still confused. We've talked about sort of 2 degrees of a commercial kitchen, a real serious one and a less serious one, for lack of better terminology. We're going with the scaled down commercial kitchen, correct?
I think the terminology that Kathy uses is startup. For startup, yeah, scaled down in the sense that the users are doing smaller batch things. Whereas evidently Franklin Community has moved to,
They do 2,000 pieces or more.
large.
And what we're looking at is something that does 1999 and less, because there isn't a facility that necessarily creates that opportunity. So if we create a facility that allows for that, anybody who's making small amounts can afford to have a space to work in. Because if they go to Franklin County, then they end up having to have a minimum, I think it's 2,000 or 2,500 units. So it's a substantial amount if they fail. So having a smaller amount to work with, a smaller kitchen to work out of, and allows them to have a smaller amount of product to have to risk.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
described it as if you're in the. If your business plan is to sell at farmers markets. Or small outlets like Millstone or Atlas Farm.
Right.
That would be for this, if you're graduating to Big Y. Or River Valley. Then
That's a larger.
there's a larger.
Yeah,
When used in Franklin County, what you have to do is they have a minimum of
You have to
$3,000.
speak louder for Paula and I can hear.
I'm sorry, the CDCC, saying that right? They have a minimum of $3,000 they usually do, and if you bring your product to them, then they'll create the recipe. And what they do is they just pick it apart and they talk to you about it, but it's a $3,000 cost. And then you have a $2,000 minimum, I don't know, 2,000 to 2,500. Do you remember, Jen?
do I remember?
The minimum number that they have, it's either 2,000 or
2,000, I
2,500.
think. They're-
Anyways, it's a substantial amount of money, so they have to put out a great deal of.
Actually, it's
sanitation.
very dependent on the product.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah,
a minimum,
right.
and so anyways, the point is by having a smaller kitchen allows the people who can't afford that that larger outlay of responsibility when it comes to creating a much grander scheme. They start small and they can decide whether or not it's going to work or not. The other thing that it allows is if you have every food truck in the state of Massachusetts has to have a home-based kitchen and it has to be certified. So it doesn't matter if you're selling in Holyoke or Greenfield or Springfield or Boston, you have to have a kitchen that you consider yourself as a home base. A small kitchen like that would suffice for that, and that's predominantly a fee for service to have that, so you can work. So
And that's regulatory driven.
it's regulatory
Yes.
driven, yes.
Oh, that's
Same with caterers.
right?
Yes,
That's a great market.
Yeah,
so,
We could also do, the people who did a cafe could also use it to make sandwiches, things like
Yes.
that, I assume.
yes.
Yes, I think that was the other piece
That's
that we
what
haven't
else.
specified. Is that it would be for. Especially if the idea is rotating,
Right,
that it would be available for cafe products.
yeah. And are the
the other thing
regulations,
is, if there's community use upstairs, it would be available to cook
yeah,
food for that.
Now, is that in here? I don't remember reading that.
But
But
certainly in the slide,
it's kind of like what the poll is.
This, though, is a
Similar.
summary
Similar,
of
yeah. That's small scale.
what Kathy talked about. What we're talking about in the kitchen is more what we are proposing,
Okay.
right? I mean,
yeah,
I think we're taking Kathy's report and saying, here's the nutshell, here's where we would like to go with it. Do we have your approval to do that?
Based upon market research and all that kind of.
You know, and what other resources do you think we should be considering, and how can you help us? And like, that's part of our presentation, right?
The regulatory piece, just one other question about it. I assume that a home kitchen does not suffice to meet those regulatory needs. Cause that would be a great marketing tool. Your home kitchen really doesn't.
You can get your home kitchen for small scale, you can get your home kitchen approved by the Board of Health, and then you can do very, very small scale for very limited distribution. If you wanna have but you know, a home scale kitchen doesn't allow you to do many more than say 100 units. You wanna do 600 units, or 800 units, or 1,000 units, the home kitchen is not gonna suffice for that size. So if you're building sheet pan lasagna for, you know, for resale, you need to have a commercial oven to be able to create that. A home kitchen isn't gonna be able to allow it. A home kitchen does have its values, you know, for certain things, but it's extremely limited.
I was just summarizing this verbally
Yeah.
for the historical commission, and one of the members of the historical commission said that she has a friend who wants to bake and sell her baking products, and she can't find a kitchen. And she would specifically say that that friend is in the area, I don't know, but it is the kind of thing that this operation would.
Right. Yeah, and that's great. I was just thinking that it's a good hook if the home kitchens didn't pass Board of Health codes, things like that. That's a great, because then you can rent an address almost.
Yeah. But, you
Well,
know,
Keith,
I'm sorry.
John Hannah approached me about 10 years ago about using the church kitchen.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it had been inspected. But it turned out it wasn't certified. He needed a certified kitchen.
Right, the certifications that, right, okay, all right. Good.
Certified by Board of Health,
I get certified by the state.
that's what I'm, yeah,
I don't know,
okay, so that's,
but that's, we're new at this.
yeah, I know. But partly I asked because the woman we met with, the Franklin County one, said there's one certification for certain products, the acidic products. That was a different requirement than other things. So there's,
Well, yeah.
we needed less in certifications.
Well,
So if I can clarify, so if you're making anything that has an acid base, a tomato sauce, even pickles and things of that nature, you need to have a certification to say, because one of the reasons being is because botulism is so easily to hide certain foods, even if they're acidic. And so to be able to protect from that, they have the certification, so you know when you're preparing it with the least possible option of having a contamination. And all that is just that so you can resell. Now, you don't need that as far as I remember, if you sell to a farmer's market, interestingly enough. But if you're selling to a store of any kind, retail any kind other than a farmer's market, then you need that certification. And there's two different ways of doing that. This kitchen can have that, or the person actually doing the work can have it. They can have their own certification. So the kitchen can avoid that need for certification. Somebody has to be certified to be in that kitchen when that work is being done. So it's usually the person who's doing the work.
Okay, so we're focusing on really on stuff that should go in our proposal for partners.
Right.
Let's get back to these documents that Judy prepared, because this is what we need to finish today. So the blue is questions you want us to discuss?
No, the first document I sent, this is revised document from the first one I sent.
Oh, so the blue is revisions.
Revisions.
Okay.
Good.
There are places that I took out statements that I don't think are true because I misunderstood the report.
Okay,
And I inserted the
Everywhere
site
there's-
plan.
very good.
I added the site. So I inserted the reference to that. Changed the appendix numbers.
Okay, Paula, did you get Judy's first
I
draft?
didn't copy
I-
that.
I did get the draft. I'm not able to print it out though, but I did read it.
Okay, but you can see what we're talking about, so. What we have in front of us has some changes, but the first page is the same.
Yeah.
That is not changed.
Well, she should have gotten it.
Did you send both to us?
Yes,
Oh,
I
okay,
sent the first one days ago.
Yeah.
okay.
This is just,
I didn't look till last night, so I didn't
this is just
register
a
that there
minor,
was,
minor update of the first.
okay.
Trivial
So
changes.
Paula, I don't, on the copy you're looking
But
at,
now, this printed copy doesn't have the attachments. It's like,
it does.
Judy, did the attachments include the range of revenue options for nonprofit applications? Grants, it did not,
I just summarized it. The
the next step.
disparity or, the relative size of the costs and the grants.
Right.
So Paula, can you tell us on page 2, do you start seeing lines to the left? I want to just make sure you're looking at the same copy we are.
No, because I can't look at you and look at that as well.
And- Okay,
Okay.
um,
There's one significant change in this from what we had understood before. And that's that in the next steps, I added confirmation of the zoning.
Yeah.
Because it occurred to me that I wasn't the official arbiter on zoning. If I applied to I sent a letter to the email to the ZBA asking to get on their agenda. And they said it would make more sense to talk to the building inspector, so I'll do that next week. But if he sort of determines that it's not eligible under current zoning, there's plenty of time to get a zoning change on to town meeting.
what is the current zoning?
It's got two zones, the underlying zone and
It's AR1 and then the historic reuse,
What's AR?
agris, agriculture residential one.
Okay,
And you're more concerned about the zoning the historic reuse?
I'm concerned, well, neither childcare nor commercial kitchen is explicitly mentioned as an option in the historical use.
But a police department and town offices,
Those are municipal functions.
which means what, they can happen anywhere?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if the building's owned
Yeah, I
by
don't
the
know.
town, it would still be a municipal function, it wouldn't the
No.
kitchen consider
No,
as a
It's not
restaurant?
a use.
Not the owner.
So the fact that the Whately Inn is down the road does not matter in terms of the kitchen, because it's an historic building. It's not the AR piece, it's the historic building piece.
It's that it's, well, a restaurant is allowed.
Difference. It seems like semantics.
My assumption, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
No, I thought you wiggled around. It's not really a.
And childcare is not explicitly mentioned in the historic reuse, but it is allowed in educational services are allowed in the ag residential zone. I would assume that childcare is considered an educational service,
Right.
but that's again an assumption, so. I don't think it's a big deal, I just wanted you to know.
Yeah.
that.
No,
No, I
good to
frankly,
keep that on the radar.
one of the least worrisome of the aspects of this.
Right. I am gonna encourage us to use child support as opposed to child care as nomenclature. I just think that it's an easier pill to swallow for people, rather than, people are automatically gonna think about it, a child care center, when you say child care, but child support is.
It ought to sound very scholastic. And I think for the zoning purpose,
Oh.
childcare center,
Okay,
Yeah, I think that language is specific in zoning, isn't it?
again, I think we're talking about this.
Yeah.
That part, no, that part is to get through ZBA.
well, I think I disagree
But-
totally.
But
You
we're
do.
also not dealing with CBA right now. We're just
Right.
trying to talk about what we're preparing for the select board,
Right.
okay?
Okay.
But
So-
when you need to be prepared to answer, because I'm sure they're gonna ask some of these questions.
That's an
Well, we
excellent
could
point,
collectively answer it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I appreciate the heads up and the discussion for that purpose, but. Yeah, there's no denying there's a lot more steps to do, we're laying groundwork here. So is there more in this document that we need to talk about?
I think Judy's changed her mind, that's not.
Well, the changes were, you never talked about document before the changes, so. And the
Right,
changes are
it's-
pretty trivial.
Yeah. Well, this was the place to talk about it, so.
For the option that was chosen, do you feel like it's like strongly option two, or it's a mix of option two and, or sorry, mixed use option 1 and 2?
Well, this is something I think more for the report than for those presentations, but my personal sense was that we preferred option 2. And that
Mixed
if
use. Yeah.
let's use option 2, yeah.
Mhm.
And but that if that didn't work out, then mixed use option 1.
Well, and. There's still potential mixed use option 3. Too.
Yeah.
That's not. That was a report didn't address that.
But we're summarizing the report.
No, I agree,
Yeah.
but. You know. If the question is, what do we prefer? We haven't fully discussed a mixed use option 3 or 4. If the select board wants to direct that, we could do that.
Yeah. Going back to the drawing board, essentially, sort of.
It, not really.
No,
A lot of the groundwork is laid, is it, you know, it's not starting from the beginning to say, let's substitute a daycare center or a commercial kitchen for private offices or an auditorium or a gymnasium. I mean, I'm making stuff up now, but you know, you're not starting from zero. You've got a lot of it.
Right, I just, in terms of the compilation, that would be like finding new combos.
I think we're gonna have enough trouble explaining this.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because I think that people aren't necessarily, it will be, I think some of these uses are new enough ideas that we're going to have to spend a little time on who the potential users would be.
Yeah.
What the need is, you know, just a little bit, but the difference between a small commercial kitchen and a bigger one. Why? I don't even know to what extent they know what a co-working facility these days looks like. So,
I think that people can wrap their heads more easily around simple than complicated. And I think one of the questions we're gonna be asked is, why are you guys making this so complicated?
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
I think people wrap their heads around more easily around simple than complicated, and I think one of the questions will be, why is this so complicated? Why is your option number 2 so complicated?
Because it's thorough. Try to make it as thorough as possible to give them as much information as possible.
I get that, but yeah. Yeah, but I think that question's going to come up and
we'll see. Maybe, well,
I think providing them with as much information as we can, yeah, otherwise, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you to some degree on that, sure. I think what we're trying to do here is give them as much information as we can to show them that we've been working on this quite some time and trying to test out all the options, and there's more to do, there's no question about it. And there's a lot more to do, but this is a good start to get the select board to understand the direction where that's possible.
I think it's a great start. Personally. I think it's a great start.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that this document goes a long way, Paula, Jonathan's draft goes a long way to helping both provide some answers to the questions about who would use it and why so complicated. So,
Well, good, I hope it does, I haven't.
yeah, no, I understand that, but I think it shows that those are exactly the questions we're working on. So if they're asking, why are we doing it? Because there's a lot of divergent interests in the town, and we think that the building can accommodate a lot of them. And we think that resolves a need to make sure that the building is adequately used and funded, so it's worth the investment.
And I think mixed use. I think we've all agreed that mixed use is the only viable pathway for the building, that relying on one single use is a huge question mark.
Well, I wouldn't use the word viable, because I think, you know, that allows people to go back to just give it to a developer, just tear it down. To me, I think the answer is, to me, instead of calling it viable, it's that it's really an effort to have more use rather than less. I think it's viable to make it housing. It's just it gets so little use that way.
I'm not sure it's viable. I mean, that's,
Well, it's
because I
not,
don't think the funding sources.
it's not worth it to the town, I think.
Yeah,
But
it's a lot of work for a little benefit.
exactly.
Right, and
A lot of
even
work.
private development, it's a lot of cost for very little revenue.
Well, keep that in mind, I think that's the most,
Well,
effective argument.
I think that the select board, well, at least Fred Barron will be receptive. The housing committee is operating on the assumption that nothing smaller than 30 units will get any grant support or developer support.
Right.
That's a big number.
But 30,
Yeah,
The big building, yeah.
For Whately, that's huge.
that's, yeah.
right,
Kind of thing you'd see in Holyoke, Springfield,
Sunderland.
something Northampton.
Anyway,
um,
But 30 may be too large, but if you're looking at just 2 or potentially 4 units, I don't think that that's gonna fly.
right. Um,
How are, well, sorry. When you go to the select board, on the agenda, what is that termed? Just a report or how? I mean, what's the focus of us going to the school board?
Status report, I put it on.
status report and
Update.
update and
Okay.
I guess
well, and
pat on the head.
and a request or an attempt to confirm that they like the direction we're going or ask them for redirection.
Okay.
I don't worry about that they're not gonna be out of our direction.
I'd like to have it on record, though.
Yeah, I think they'll say good job.
Yeah.
Keep working.
Right,
Here you go.
right.
Seriously,
I agree. Thank you for keeping us informed.
that's what they do.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
totally.
So they won't ask all these questions that we think they're gonna ask? They're just gonna say,
No,
good
they'll
job,
ask, then-
keep going?
They'll ask, and then they'll say, great.
Oh, okay,
Well, the questions are more clarification than suspicions.
okay.
Of course, they're gonna watch this recording and they're gonna say, we'll show them.
Okay, for the minutes, what was the question you asked about this document? Did I need something in the minutes about that?
Well, like on before all the figures, it says of mixed use options, we believe that number 2 with the commercial kitchen would generate most support. And
Okay.
I just wanna, maybe we add language along the lines of, we, like, of the 4 options, we really, you know, we thought mixed use number 2 was the best, but we're also looking into, I think there just needs to be a little bit more of a transition step between, we like number 2, but we also like,
That's based off too.
right, but also including the childcare support element and a cafe and.
So it doesn't 2 include the childcare support?
No.
already?
No,
No,
yeah,
that's why I was saying like,
Oh, I thought it included, because that's why it was,
No, that's one.
well, it's on.
it's sort of,
It's 1.5.
it's like, yeah, it's
And
like it's like a halfway
was
point between
one
1 and 2,
instead of-
which was why
It was
I brought it up.
childcare instead of kitchen.
Yeah,
He's combining them
yeah, I know.
to really make it 3. That's, I think the point is. We
Yeah,
love this report. We found it very helpful in guiding our thinking. Kathy wrote this the way she contracted she would write it. But we really want to go with a mixed use 3.
That's gonna be difficult to apply for the development grant, which deadline I think is not May 1st, but March 1st.
No, well, so it's a rolling application date. She sent an email yesterday, how it's a rolling application date, but funds may already be gone for the
If
fiscal
we
year.
wait to May.
Yeah.
that's typical EDA stuff.
Yes, exactly.
So the. Okay, well, I'll read her email, but anyway, well, this report reads as though it's 1 and 2, my report.
So where does 3 come in? I'm not.
That's my mistake. I thought that childcare support was part of 2. And when I plugged it all in,
That's why your revenues are so high.
what's that?
Is that why your revenues are high?
Yeah, because I was assuming there'd be I missed that. I thought the last time we talked, we were all thinking, oh, childcare support's a good hook.
I think it is, but I think in mixed use option one, it's like that full daycare. And so I
Yeah.
think at our last meeting, we were sort of thinking about how we could like kind of have the best of both worlds.
Right.
Of like a smaller child support rather than a full daycare, while also having the kitchen.
I mean, I don't see a problem with this committee saying, we really want a mixed use 3. The report didn't do all the analysis or drawings for that. But I don't wanna speak just for myself. Am I right that we
I
want?
wouldn't go there at this point.
But that's what we did agree on at the last meeting, the mixed use support.
And I worry that if we don't,
Something different.
if we don't hint at it, that this is what we're extrapolating from the report. If we don't hint at it, people are gonna say, well, you didn't mention this.
If we do, not to interrupt you.
Speak up, Rich.
If we do, should we do a little bit of research as to the feasibility of putting a kitchen underneath a child support center?
Well, I think the child care support center and the kitchen would be on the same floor.
I'm assuming you're talking about, I don't even remember this conversation,
I don't-
both in the basement, is that what we're talking about?
I don't know, I'm trying to get clarification. on that.
The building, the 4 quadrants.
Yeah,
I don't, we got there, we just said that building, in that building, the use.
but in lieu of the co-work or in lieu of the kitchen or half the kitchen,
I don't think the kitchen can be cut down that much.
Probably not.
But perhaps the co-working can be cut down.
Well,
Okay, so
okay, I'll try and come
I
up
think
with
I think if I can, just one more thing, if we try to create that collaborative space as a kitchen. And we add a childcare in the same space, it's going to be cumbersome to be able to use that for people out in and out all the time. You're going to have issues with who's coming into the space where the kids are. So you'd have to have the kids either on the second floor, isolated away from that place. Because, I mean, I was a parent once, and I'm sure many of us are, at one point, or still are, I should say.
yeah.
Anyway. Parent of small kids, I would wanna know who's coming in and out of the space. And I'm sure other people are going to wanna know as well. So having it on the same floor, I think is gonna cause some eye-opening issues. Having it in a separate isolated place, cause if you have a kitchen in a school, that's not a problem. You know who is working in the kitchen, you know those people are
They're all
vetted.
quarried there, yeah.
Yeah, they're vetted for the space, they're fine, but anybody who's coming in and out, we wanna vet them, we wanna understand who they are, we wanna get signatures in, signatures out. And it becomes even that much more complicated and cumbersome when you're doing that with kids, when they're walking through the space with their kids. So even if they're upstairs, we'll probably still have the same issues. That's the only concern that I would have. I don't disagree that it's a good idea. I just think implementing it might be more complicated.
That's
Let me-
a very,
Let me
very,
make this simpler, okay? Judy's really suggesting that we're talking only about the report and the options it contains. And yet, in fact, we are considering, we would like to do work to go towards an option which is somewhat variant from what the report contains. So how do we handle that issue?
Just the way you said it.
So we're saying we're saying we love this report, it's really helpful to our thinking.
It's a good.
And it is triggering for us some revisions that we want to spend some time thinking about,
possible revisions, yeah.
yeah, possible.
okay? And in the meantime, you know, we're trying to develop a plan for that and looking for partners
Right.
that support any and all pieces of this,
This is the skeleton.
which is the skeleton, the report.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
And
just
is it
because
okay?
this document doesn't mention option 3.
I know, that's why I'm,
This one does, apparently, I haven't read it.
well, this one we're not giving them.
Oh, we're not?
No,
No,
Oh, okay,
We have
okay,
it.
we have, it, okay. All right.
it's guiding our
If it's just these
teaching
two,
and
then-
presentation. We're
Then,
talking,
you know, I would only mention it verbally then,
Yeah.
because it's not in the report.
Yeah.
It's not in the big report, not in this summary, and not in the slideshow.
I think the language is, this is the report, and this was giving us fuel to think about how we can best execute on option number 2. Leaves it open-ended.
okay. Follow, what were you gonna say?
I just wonder if it's appropriate then to then ask the board, you know, their opinions. You know, we are aware that there is more work to be done on this, but you know, that's why we want your feedback on the direction to go forward.
Yeah,
I mean, we keep going around to, you know, to the kitchen, the child support, and I agree with you, Jonathan. I like the idea of the child support, because if you say child daycare, then you're getting into a whole other realm in people's minds of what that opens up. A daycare, you know, really gives parents, it's a, you know, it's a 7 to 6 kind of thing on a daily basis, and that would be a problem for the kitchen downstairs. I understand that. A child support, at one point we talked about having like maybe a little cafe upstairs, and somebody's coming in and they're on their laptop for a while, and there's somebody there looking out for their child or children, maybe taking them out to the swings for a half hour, you know, that kind of thing. But before we go through all that, I think would make sense to say to the select board, and I don't know the select board members, or not many, you know, what is your feedback? What's the direction you would like us to take? Is that appropriate or not?
yeah, I definitely think we need to ask that question,
Right.
whether they
They
have
would
any.
give it anyway.
They give it anyway. The danger is that they're gonna,
Right.
if they ask, and then if they're asked and they tell us, here's what I would do, and then we choose not to do that, they're like, well, why did you ask? We're looking for ideas, not solutions.
Mhm.
We have some facts, a lot of assumptions. We have learning and exploring to do,
Right,
and they are well aware of that.
And the beauty of that, Judy, is that what we're putting together, if anyone was doing it with any product, service, whatever, it's filled with assumptions. There's very little, there's some knowledge, but it's all assumptions. And you just have to have faith that the assumptions are gonna pan out. Otherwise, no business would ever start.
You know, one thing I think that they will be very concerned with that we haven't spent a lot of time on is who manages this. And I know Kathy recommended that that a nonprofit, public-private partnership be formed. I don't think any of us know quite what Jonathan made. I don't think any of the rest of us know what that would look like. But I think so I put that in the slideshow. In the slides, and I think it's fair that we don't know what that would look like at this point, but we need to make it clear that we're not expecting town staff
We're not expecting one.
to be.
Right, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Or town resources.
right, I think we have to be pretty clear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but the unknowns are okay, I mean, what,
Yeah,
and that will be. That will be up to a nonprofit board if we go in the nonprofit
Yeah.
direction. And one of the things the town needs to be aware of. And this is where the covenants come in. the minute you create a nonprofit board, they're the decision makers. Now, the town can have somebody sit on the board.
Yeah, I think it would be public-private.
But if the nonprofit board, let's say it's a 3-member board. And the nonprofit board votes 2-1 to do X. Unless it's in the covenants that they can't do X, the town can do nothing about it. Cause that's why the nonprofit status exists. And it's very clearly regulated in law. And IRS code.
Well, that's. If they have that kind of control, then does prevailing wage still apply?
I don't know the answer to that.
I
But again,
would
that's in the
never
covenants,
come
that's-
up with that question. That's such a good question.
Yeah, my guess is because it's a public building, yes, prevailing wage.
It's got to do with the amount of control. That I learned on.
But it's in,
somewhere on-
but it's in the covenants that the nonprofit would have to abide by prevailing wage laws and any other laws that,
All right, well.
and then the
I guess that's a
nonprofit can
question
decide, am
for
I,
council and-
do I wanna do this or not?
But I think it is possible to get out of prevailing wage. Tenants have enough. They're long-term and have enough control over their precise operations.
That if we could get around prevailing wage, that would be, I didn't say this, it would be nice, but I didn't say that.
You're not
Well,
really
it'd be
that.
advantageous in terms of the
You're
cost.
not good, yeah.
It just makes the, we don't wanna use this word, it makes the viability tough in terms of cost.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we have discussed this amorphous goal of partnership. And included in that is our hope is that included in that will be management of the space. And it may be, quite possible it would be multiple people.
You're talking 2 levels of things.
I'm going back to your original question, your original point that we haven't really talked about this, that
No, but I think there are 2 levels of management. A nonprofit board kind of oversees the building itself and arranges for tenants
okay,
and works with the partners.
okay,
And then the partners manage their
the
operations.
actual space within
The
that
co-work space.
their allocated actual space.
And the board
Okay.
then decides how it wants to manage its functions. Whether it's an individual staff member, it's a series of staff members, if the board wants to do it themselves, it's something, that's up to the board. As
Okay,
long as it's done well.
so your point is, when we're talking about finding partners, we're talking about a specific partner to work on the kitchen piece and another partner to work on the gallery piece. And both of those and whatever else there will be is overseen by a board.
That sounds like the most practical,
Yeah.
approach.
The board oversees everything, and if they decided to hire a staff person to manage the whole shooting match, that staff person is responsible to the board. I mean, the board is,
The board would set the rents, board would probably arrange for somebody to be on call for plumbing and things.
all that's,
Fixing,
Well,
building man, basic.
yeah. But whoever takes the kitchen piece of it would be responsible for what I think is the most onerous task of,
right,
keeping it clean, keeping it certifiable, et cetera.
And
et cetera.
scheduling and collecting
Yeah.
payments and,
right,
Getting the money.
right, but if one of their industrial stove ovens goes out, that's not the responsibility of the board, that's their responsibility.
But if the water main fails,
That's the responsibility, right, right,
the window falls out.
right,
I mean, or if,
Whatever.
door breaks or
Yeah.
toilets stop working.
right, if there are rodents in the walls,
Heating fails,
that kind of stuff. right?
Yeah. the fun stuff.
really good distinctions.
In the part that was written, is there mention of utilization of the lawn space for playground, or is that?
Says that every option has a play space. Because
An outside play space, okay.
it doesn't. And I think for the childcare, there's a specific reference that when the childcare isn't there, you know, after hours, that townspeople could use it. It wasn't clear to me how the extent to which this play space would be equipped to the other options.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's inside baseball for down the road. Yeah. Yeah, I just say that because I know that there are some townspeople who just think, tear the building down and build a playground.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
One of the select
Great
board
place for a few,
members does.
cemetery.
Well, that other people have said that.
Cemetery people commissions rejected.
Right,
Okay.
right.
The only thing that I have a concern about this whole process, particularly with the collaborative kitchen area, is each option seems to have the same septic needs. Or there's no additional septic breakout for the kitchen area, because I think it would use a whole lot of water.
I assume that's in the cost, but
I don't know, I don't remember seeing it, but
well,
That's
and
something
how
else.
many of us look at the appendix?
The only thing that I have question about whether the plan will change considerably if we do put a kitchen in. Not against the idea, but I don't think it'll work.
I'm gonna interrupt because you have a deadline. I wanna make sure we talk about when we're meeting next and tasks we have to do.
Are we meeting before the
Select board.
Do we want to meet before the select board?
I don't think we need to.
Okay.
When does that mean? It's like
28th,
28th. Next one.
6 o'clock on the 28th.
I wonder whether we should, the next day might be a lot, but maybe meet on the 4th or the 5th to do a
Brief.
just
debrief, yeah.
debrief the select board meeting. I mean, I hate meetings, but
Good idea.
Well, why not just the Thursday after, whatever that will be, the following Thursday?
the 5th,
Well, the select board is a Wednesday, so the next day,
no,
I mean, a week after.
Yeah. yes,
So what day will that be?
it'd either be Wednesday the 4th or Thursday the 5th.
Thursday gets us Carol.
Caroline can't come on Wednesday, so Thursday will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, thank you. That's important. Is there anything we feel like we need to do before either the 28th or the 5th? I can tell you, I'm gonna send out minutes. And it's got, you know, be prepared for, I'd like people to give feedback on it before the 28th.
Sure.
Anything else?
Well, are these documents okay?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think they look good. Just be clear, we're not giving the business.
We're not giving that.
Okay,
Correct,
all right.
that's our first draft.
This
Work
doesn't
on.
go, right?
Doesn't go. That's a breathing down, that's a breathing down.
Okay, so. The written document goes and slides are presented.
Yeah. Thank you. Work.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no
late,
kidding.
but it took a lot longer than I
Work,
worked.
yes.
Do we want add the names of the committee or no, or is
Yeah,
that?
I was gonna change that, I should have, I think I'd take out the. Well, I'm gonna take out the from line at the beginning and put the names at the end. Just put the names at the end.
I don't think it matters that much. Just ask.
No, I think they should move it. And I think the slide presentation should have the plans in this site plan as available slides, but not
Yeah.
part of the presentation itself, but if there are questions, they could be called up.
You're talking the slides of the options?
Yeah, I guess the site plan is there, but
Yeah.
the plans aren't, and but we can have them at the back of the presentation, but not part of what's we show.
Okay, let's talk logistics just a little bit on doing that, once we're actually done. Okay, anything else we need to do? Were we good with the 1:15 minutes? The last set of minutes?
Yeah.
Which two people
Yeah.
said, so those are approved?
Thank you, everybody.